Groves for 8 years. I started in the 5th grade. Before I began attending Groves, I went to a public school called Kimberly Lane. In all honesty, it wasn't that bad. I had plenty of friends and no one bullied me. However, I did suffer from one thing. My reading skills were pathetic. I was able to hold my own in every other subject except reading. By the time I was in the 4th grade, I figured out that my classmates had continued to read more and more difficult books. But I was still reading books that were at the same level as I had read in the 1st and 2nd grade. Now, having been in elementary school at the time, I didn't really care. Luckily, my parents had been watching out for me and discovered that I had dyslexia. After learning this, they had me enrolled at Groves the next year so that I could get the help that I needed. When I first started at Groves, I realized I wasn't the only one that struggled with reading. In fact, for my first 2 years, the teachers seemed to devote half of their time to make sure that our reading levels did improve. By the time that I was in middle school, I was able to read at my own grade level. Later on, I would start reading at levels that were higher than my grade level. When I first started upper school, I remember being terrified. I thought that the workload would just be ridiculous and that I would probably start failing a few classes. It turned out that I was half right. The workload did increase, but so did my responsibility and freedom to get the work done. My motto throughout my first year was that at any cost, I must not fail a class. Surprisingly, I did quite well. I even started to get A's in most of my classes. In my freshman year of math, I had Mrs. Hall, who, it appeared, would work you to death. But afterwards, I would be so grateful to her for all that she taught me. Had it not been for her teaching, I probably would have been killed in my more advanced math classes that I ultimately took. Little did I know that my future math teachers, Mrs. Kwame and Mr. Wilson, would also be remarkable at teaching math. Another teacher that I had the privilege of being taught by for 3 years was Mr. Nord. He was my science teacher. Now, I'll admit, I'm not a science guy, and I personally thought that the subject was a little boring. But Mr. Nord made it fun. Last year, in chemistry, when we were given the assignment to make a chemical reaction between a base and an acid, I asked for the 2 most potent and powerful chemicals he had. To my dismay, he not only gave them to me, but also a gas mask to go along with them. Lastly, I would like to mention my AAS teacher, Mr. Smith, who helped prepare me for nearly every type of college paper that I could possibly get. Groves' educational system is truly amazing. Not only did they allow me to get through high school, but I'm even taking PSEO classes at North Hennepin Community College, and I'm happy to report that I'm doing quite well. By the time I start college next year at Gustavus Adolphus, I should have about a year's worth of college credits already. Had it not been for the help of Groves, I would never have felt confident enough to take this next step. Not only did Groves help me with my education, but they also helped me with my first job. In my sophomore year, I began working at the school store, and now I've become the manager. Throughout that whole time, I have worked under the silliest, borderline insane, but yet fun, great boss, Mr. Schutte. Finally, I would like to thank my family for supporting me while I was at Groves, and I would like to especially thank my parents for caring enough to send me to Groves at such a young age. I would once again like to thank my teachers and the Groves staff for helping me through my academic journey.